I mean, which you might not. That's why it's called that.
Behind that suit.
Yeah, it's because I was rapping a suit. So if you catch me at some rap day, I'm in a suit. That's not like that means I'm there to rap. If I'm not in a suit, I rap. If I'm not in a suit, I wasn't expecting that shit.
Now I understand. I did
Um,
not understand.
yeah. It makes sense if you get it, I suppose. But I don't try very hard to explain all the weird jargon I'm creating for myself.
It just kind of comes out at some point.
Yeah. And then for those who are there, it's all good. No worries about anything, man. This is supposed to be like the casual. Most people find politics super boring and they use a lot of gated language. So let's move around
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Honestly, I
Yeah.
really dig that approach
That's
to it because, like I was saying about Obama, like, yo, you would listen to that guy say 3 sentences in a row, and if you cut out the adjectives, he said literally nothing. Just freaking out a word for word level, he
yeah.
would say nothing. And I used to go to the gym and he'd be talking at lunch. So I would just read the like like when the TV at the gym has the subtitles pop up for some reason, it would be like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so you're actually reading it and you're like, yo, this
And
guy
you
doesn't
see the
say
words.
anything. He says nothing, but it sounds so good, like vapid lyrics to a song.
I mean, Obama was also a damn good speaker. Like he may have said nothing at times,
Oh yeah.
sometimes, but he was damn good when he said it.
Well,
And that's something that like most people don't become good at, like real substantive political communication. That's why I liked Hood Politics. Because Hood Politics just presented it in really straightforward terms. No jargon, no bullshit, just like easy points of reference, and then like people can understand this stuff. It's the jargon that often keeps them out.
absolutely. It's in every level of life, and academia is worse than everyone else. Academia is the biggest villains in this, in my opinion.
I could not agree more.
Like
I could not agree more.
Like, why on earth is your peer reviewed study paper? And I have a. Why is it so hard to understand what you're saying there? Nah, you guys could write. You guys could hire me to write that and make it accessible. But then you can counter that I put in 15. And sure, relax yourself. You just like the fact that you know better jargon in your field than I do, and that's a real thing.
Yeah, man, that's common everywhere. It happens in all the professions. It happens absolutely everywhere, and it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. I'd say one of the the best signs of not just like intelligence, but like a clear desire to like communicate with people and reach people is when people intentionally frame whatever they're talking about in regular language, no jargon. Because when you get caught up, whether it's in academia or law or politics, like it can be easy to just like adopt the jargon and then you don't even think about it, right? It happens to me all the time. But to deliberately express it in regular language, it really takes you making like a deliberate choice, right? You need to decide to do that. You need to be conscientious. And some of the best communicators, especially political leaders, know how to speak to people in just like those straightforward human terms. Cut out the jargon, cut out the crap, and everyone's going to be a lot happier. But it's tough to do, you know? I'm sure I fall into jargon all the damn time without realizing it.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm probably guiltier of it than I want to admit. I just try to be cognizant of it. That's why I swear a lot in a lot of environments, because then if people really listen, they're gonna like. It's weird, but like it kind of forces you to express stuff differently if you use the word shit 17 times in your explanation. Because now you really got to be apt with everything else, or all of those individual shits won't mean what you want them to mean.
Won't really mean
But if you
yeah.
say it all right, it'll work. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
so
You need to wrap the shit in the right words.
absolutely. And by doing that, I don't know. I'm into like manipulating language like that a lot, but I do think there's a lot of value in like being clear and not focused on getting the knowledge of stuff. But that's all fun and good. But let's go back to you. So you run your first thing, and then you spend 4 years after that, like
Yeah.
run campaigning on your reputation, I guess. Or
Like
like,
working on the scene, right? Like working with Projet, working for the party. Actually, it wasn't 4 years. It was 3 years, day for day, because um, at the beginning of 2017, I left my job at the party because I wanted to start building my campaign um, to run again, and
How do you
then
build
I
the
worked on
campaign?
that. I mean, what I said before about finding people, signing them up, getting the word out, and then obviously everything else that comes with it for the general, like finding people that are willing to donate to support. Um, Campaigns take teams. You got to have a team. You got to be organized. Like you think about Obama, you may not have liked what he was saying, but the guy was running a hell of an operation when he was running
I
for
didn't
president.
like his excessive use of adjectives to code his language in very deliberate ways. I can't. That's my preference.
That is very clear and precise criticism. Um, and what you were saying about being concise, I would also add brief. Um, Politicians often don't know when to shut up, and and again, I fall prey to it from time to time as well. But to this day, I'm convinced that I'm one of the only politicians that tries to prepare my remarks when I'm speaking in council, when I'm speaking at like an official thing, and I try to keep it short and sweet. I don't want to say anything that's superfluous. And the fact of the matter is, when you want to get your point across, if you do it clearly and concisely and with brevity, you can say a lot in a very small period of time. And I hear so many veteran politicians, people who've been here for decades, who get up and they start talking and they just say nothing. They're not saying anything. And they don't say anything for 10, 20, 30 minutes. It's crazy. So, yeah, concision and brevity. That being said, you need to put together an organization. You need to put together a team. So that's what I worked on in 2017, and it. I think it made a difference because I was saying earlier, you got to win those two elections, right? You've got to win the party nomination first, and then your name's on the ballot for the general elections in November. And there were three other people. There were four of us that were running for the Projet nomination in Loyola. Four of us, and it was a preferential ballot. So instead of just checking off one name, which is what we usually do when we're voting, you could rank your choices. You could say, okay, he's number one. He's my favorite. She's my second. And you could, so for four people, you would essentially take three choices and the last one just doesn't get counted. So four candidates, we had a preferential vote, and it came down to the last ballot when, two other candidates had been eliminated. And that was the day that organization and teamwork made a difference, because I won that nomination vote by 2 votes out of almost 300 people who showed up. And sometimes, people say that cliche that, every vote counts. Sometimes every vote really does count. sometimes like, if even one or two people had, and, like for the 2 weeks after that, every time I ran into people in the neighborhood, they'd be like, oh yeah, we made the difference, right? And it's like, yeah, you and everyone else. It's a collective thing, like if anyone hadn't shown up that day, I would have lost. So, yeah, like campaigns matter. You need to have a team. You can't do it by yourself. And I'm lucky. I've gotten to work with a lot of really great people in the neighborhood. I feel a lot of love. A lot of people that have been with me since 2013 stuck with me in 2017. They stuck with me even when I left the party last year and decided to go independent. Yeah, good people.
So how many 27, 8-year-olds go get party nominations like that at the municipal level?
Um,
Is that like a
I
common
think
thing?
it's not very common for young people to run. You know, like, like we do get elected. We do get nominations, not always in winnable seats, but you know, we can be candidates. A lot of young people run as candidates. A lot of young people who want to like show that they're willing to really put in the effort for a party because they want to like build their status and their stature in a party. They'll run for the party in an unwinnable seat or a seat that's very unlikely to win, just to show that they're willing to put themselves out there. And that's saying something, man, because that is your name and your face that is plastered all over a corner of town. It's a very public loss when you lose. And so to do that, it takes guts. But it's not that often that young people win. I think when I got elected in 2017, there were like 2 or 3 of us at city council downtown out of 65 that were under the age of 30.
Yeah, serious. Because
there's not many people that get elected at this age. I'm very lucky. Like I'm very lucky to be able to do this at a young age, because most people, a lot of people don't try. They're working on building their careers in other ways, or they're focusing on other projects, you know. It can be difficult because running is like a financial risk. If you take time off work and then at the end of it, you might not have a job. It's really risky for people. It's really stressful for young parents, young families. It's one of the reasons why historically it's been very difficult to get women to run. Like, men are always saying, oh yeah, I could do it. I'd be great at the job. But you know, with every party that I've worked with, there's always had to be more, you know, outreach to female candidates saying, we will help you win. We will give you the support you need, because it's a big risk. And it's really challenging to run for office. So yeah, I'm one of the lucky ones. You know, there aren't many young people, although there are some amazing young people who got elected in Montreal. You know, I think of a guy like Younes Boukala in Lachine. He got elected at like 22 or 23. I love that guy. He's amazing. He does great work. And it just goes to show that you don't need to be older or more experienced in life to do good work for your community. This guy is 22 years old. He was finishing up his university studies while being a councillor, and he was able to do both. So, you know, it's not something that we should just leave to older people.
That's one hell of a job to have while in school.